It is so great seeing my next guest back in action. He's going to be fighting at UFC 268 on November 6th. It's Raging Al Iaquinta joining me here on the program. Al, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good, James. Thanks for having me.
Hey,
Appreciate it. Looking forward to talking to you.
Well, pleasure's all mine, man. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I wanted to start first with the announcement of this fight. It was on the UFC broadcast saying the fight was a done deal. And from what I heard, that wasn't done yet. How surprised were you that the UFC kind of jumped the gun with that?
I wasn't tremendously surprised, kind of irritated, but that's how they do things. But yeah, it got cleared up, signed, sealed, delivered, ready. We're ready to go. November 6th, Madison Square Garden. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, what a fight it is. Has that happened to you before where, you know, a fight's leaked out and you're like, hey, hold on a second here, I haven't signed the papers yet?
I think it has happened before, yeah.
Yeah, just part of the business, I get, right? You know, they get a little excited, right? Everyone's excited to see you back, so I can understand that as well. And one sort of question I had too was, do you have a manager or are you negotiating the fights yourself?
Oh no, I have a manager. Yeah.
Oh, who are you with? Just sorry, because you were Dave Martin. Oh, nice. Okay, that's awesome.
Those guys are the best. Randall. Yeah, it's yeah, we have a great thing going. Good. We have good conversation with the UFC. That's why it's a little weird that it happened like that, but it was a kind of a misunderstanding, and I think yeah, everyone's better off for it.
Yeah, and in case people don't know, Dave also reps, I believe, Ryan Bader, Michael Chandler. There's a really yourself, Robbie Lawler. There's a lot of big names under that banner. So maybe not the most notable manager for the average MMA fan, but wanted to give him a shout out here as well. Was this the right amount of time to come back? I know obviously you want to fight New York. Who doesn't? But was this the right amount of time for you to have your next fight?
Yeah, it all kind of worked out to get. I had surgery. I had some pretty. About a year ago in August, I had a surgery, two surgeries within a week, and took a while to bounce back from that. Took longer than the doctor said it was going to, but right when I heard little rumblings of them coming back to MSG is when I started to feel better and started to train again. So it all kind of came together at the right time, and I reached out. I had Dave reach out to the UFC and get a little bit more info on when this fight was going down, and then watched Bobby Green his last fight against Fiziev, and I kind of think there's a case you give that fight to Bobby Green. He came strong in the end, and Fiziev was coming out guns blazing in the first round. But Bobby Green really put it on him and hurt him towards the end of that fight. And I was like, it would be a good fight. It was supposed to happen in 2015. Bobby Green got hurt, and the fight never ended up happening. But in the back of my head, I was like, wow, that was a good fight. Fight of the night. Bobby Green kind of comes away, to me, looking like the winner in that. Even though he didn't get the decision, he looked really good against a tough Fiziev. And sure enough, the next day, my manager asked me, Bobby Green, ? And I was like, yeah. I said that was funny. That's exactly what I was thinking. So Bobby Green poses a lot of problems, fights with his hands down. It's tricky. Good wrestling base, uses it to stay up. And he's good scrambling back to his feet when he does get taken down. Very rarely does, though. So definitely a unique fighter and a tricky fight to prepare for.
And kind of a cool fight too, because if I'm not mistaken, I feel like you guys both came in the UFC around the same time. I know he was with Strikeforce. Like, it's kind of like one of those fun, like, kind of veteran matchups. So it must be cool to get a fight with a guy you were familiar with, as opposed to them giving you, say, like a contender series guy or like a newcomer, right?
Yeah. At this point, those are the fights I'm looking for, I think. Yeah, definitely have a lot of respect for the guy, and he's been looking better and better. So it's going to be a good one.
And you mentioned as well, kind of when the New York card started being talked about, that's kind of when you were starting to feel better. When did you actually get in the gym and start going training like full-fledged, like with the injury and stuff? I know you got to be careful when you come back, but how long ago was it that you were actually able to train full time?
I don't know. Time is really.
I know it blends together. Yeah. Like the summer or even before that, or what sort of, when were you actually in there, like training and everything, like full fledged?
It was this summer. Yeah, it was this summer. Definitely this summer.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought last summer with the surgery. That would be too tough. So
no, I was Yeah, no, I was in Vegas in like March. I spent a month at the PI, and that was pretty brutal. Just kind of a really rough time. You go in, you're working out, and you're supposed to feel better when you work out, but every day I'd leave there feeling worse and worse. So that was a tough period. And then yeah, I guess probably more towards the end of the summer was when I started really feeling good and really hop back into it. I mean, my head is always in the fight game. I train people always. I'm always uh, people around town love to come. I have my gym. My garage is fully matted, so I'm training people, uh, teaching beginners the basics all the way up to working with guys that are fighting in the regional promotions, and even Aljo and Marab in the UFC, working with those guys. So my head is always in the fight game.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much for me to get back into it. It takes me. I'm always eating healthy. I like to maybe drink a little bit on my downtime. So once I cut that out and I ramp up the training, it's not long till I'm ready to go.
You mentioned it there, Aljamain Sterling, Marab. I know Sterling's sort of now based in Vegas doing his training camps there. I know you and Marab and Aljamain went to Georgia to train a bit. How have you structured camp sort of leading into this? Because it seems like there's been a bit of cross training.
No, I've been here. I've been here training with. We were in Georgia. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but we did so much there. We saw so much. Marab he showed us that where he comes from is such a beautiful and such a real place. And the people there were so appreciative of him going back and giving back. We taught a lot of seminars. We did some training ourselves. We saw all the sites. We did so much we were there I think 6 days. But yeah, once I got back, then it was really back to usual training here on Long Island with Ray Longo, Matt Serra, and Team Serra Longo.
And who have been some of the main training partners for this camp? Same sort of names you mentioned there. You mentioned some regional guys as well. Who are you getting to work with?
Oh yeah, Dennis Bazooka, who's fighting this weekend at Ring of Combat. Justin the Kid Montalvo, who just had a big knockout, a TKO victory. If you look on my Instagram, I just posted his clip of his knockout. Ripped the guy to the body. They call him the Body Snatcher, and he's 3-0, three knockouts, two of them with body shots. Uh, Dylan Mantello is fighting also this weekend for the Ring of Combat title in Atlantic City. Matt Frivola is always a great training partner. UFC lightweight. Marab, Aljo. Aljo does a great Bobby Green impression. So I've been working with Aljo He's been doing his Bobby Green style sparring. So I've been pushing myself, and I go out to the sports science lab in Staten Island.
Mhm.
It's incredible place to supplement my workouts. They do a lot of physical, not just physical therapy, strength and conditioning, but also brain training, which works my eyes. Something that I don't think a lot of fighters do, but I think is the most important thing. Uh, well, a very important thing that's overlooked in the fight game. Depth perception, reaction time, hand-eye coordination is stuff that I work at the sports science lab in Staten Island. Dr. Piazza, motivating guy. You just talk to that guy for 5 minutes. One of those guys, you just go in there,
Mhm.
you talk to the guy for 5 minutes. You could be having the worst day ever, and you just leave there feeling motivated and inspired. So I'm lucky to have such a great crew and such a great team around me.
You mentioned Aljamain Sterling. Obviously, a lot of people online giving him a lot of hate. They want the belt stripped, all this nonsense, right? Because the guy's injured. He's not cleared by the doctors. Have you felt any of that blowback? And also, have you given him any trash talking tips? Because he's got to deal with a lot of idiot fans these days.
No, Aljo does his trash talk in his way, in his own style. I don't. I sit back and watch, and I actually admire the way he just lets things roll off of the trash talk. But yeah, it's. I mean, he does himself. He kind of brings it on himself a lot with the way he's doing things. So I think that he's doing his style, and he's training hard. and when he is ready to go, I know it's going to be a lot different fight. I don't think he showed. He didn't give a true representation of himself in that first fight. And when or if they do fight again, it's going to be a different story. But I'm looking forward to the fight coming up here in a couple weeks between Sandhagen and Jan, because that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, who do you see winning that fight? It's pretty interesting with Sandhagen, getting a couple nice finishes since the Aljamain fight, and Jan, obviously, I mean, he's very well rounded in general. Just your thoughts on that fight? Who you see winning that one?
Yeah, I honestly I couldn't call it. That's a tough one. It's a clash of styles. I think Sandhagen can get him out of there with a few things, but Petr Yan, he's slow and steady, and he builds as the fight goes on. So we'll see. It's going to be a good fight.
I give you $500 though. Who are you putting your money on? It's not your money. It's my money. I'm giving it to you. Free money. It's Monopoly money. Who are you putting it on?
I'm going to put it on Sandhagen.
There you go. I love it. Like the honesty there. Back to you. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight? I imagine is Ray Longo going to be there, or who's going to be in the cage with you that night?
Ray, Matt, and Aljo.
Awesome. There you go. And the one thing with Bobby Green, extremely tough to finish. How do you see this fight playing out on November 6th? How do you envision it going down?
I've envisioned it going in many, many different ways, but the goal is to go out there and make it look flawless. I think people haven't seen what I've been working on the last couple of years. I've seen his last couple of fights and seen how he's been evolving. I think when people see what I've been working on, they're going to be surprised and definitely impressed.
How many more fights do you have left on your contract? Do you know?
I do.
You got a few left, I imagine, because usually you renegotiate on the last one, right?
Yeah, I got a couple left.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious about that. And, something that I don't think, looks even better looking back now, you're the last guy to go the distance with Khabib Nurmagomedov. I know there were circumstances with you getting that title fight, but do you kind of take that as a badge of honor, knowing that you went the distance with him, where if other guys like Conor and so many others have gotten finished?
No, for sure. Yeah, it's a testament to my toughness. I know how tough I am. I think it showed everybody else how tough I am. And how, yeah, I think that the rest of the guys probably could have done the same thing, but there's a little weakness there that Khabib was able to exploit. So yeah, no, it's definitely motivating for sure.
Where do you put Khabib in the greatest of all time conversation? Some people say he belongs there because he was undefeated. Others say, needs more title defenses. I know it's kind of subjective, but just your thoughts on Khabib and the greatest of all time conversation.
Yeah, you got to put him up there. Definitely. I think St. Pierre probably, St. Pierre, he avenged all his losses, right? Mm-hmm. Jon Jones I think he's just tainted with the allegation, all this nonsense, and now, that the nonsense is one thing, but I think the picogram that just kind of takes him out of the conversation. Anderson Silva was up there, but I think that he kind of fell maybe a little towards the end, and that might hurt him. But I think Anderson Silva is definitely up there. Same thing with like Fedor. But I think it's got to be between GSP and Khabib.
Okay. Yeah, good choices there. You mentioned Jon Jones. Obviously, the news we heard last week that said he's not allowed to train at Jackson Wink anymore. I know he's trying to train at home, but do you think a switch in camps would work for him at this point or something? Because obviously there's some personal issues outside the cage as well.
I don't know. I don't know what his deal is. I think no matter what gym he goes to, he's going to be the same guy. I don't think Jackson's really made him. I think he was just like, he was going to be who he was no matter where he goes. So if he switches up, I don't think anything's going to change. And I don't know if those guys, I don't know if maybe switching it up would help him, if he ends up in the right place. I feel like he needs to isolate himself on an island somewhere with 4 or 5 training partners, and just like that's it. You can't do it,
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate what with everything, all the extracurricular nonsense that's gone on in his career, because he's definitely one of the best ever to do it.
And someone else who's kind of gotten in trouble lately, Conor McGregor. The latest thing we heard is there's now an altercation he had with some Italian DJ over the weekend. What do you make of all this with Conor? He's getting in the headlines, but for all the wrong reasons these days.
Yeah, he's kind of he's fallen off big time. He's fallen off big time. For a guy that's inspired so many people on the come up, to now to be resorting to fighting people on red carpets, and he brought so many people into this, fans of the sport, and now I don't know, he's giving it a bad light. Yeah, I think it's kind of unraveling for him. He's short circuiting. He's not putting in the work that he was. He doesn't. He's let the money get to him. And yeah, I mean, when you got that much money, who cares? Why? I wouldn't give a shit about anything. I'm not punching anybody. You give me a couple $1,000,000, I'll never throw a punch ever again. How about that? Like, I'm not. There's no reason to hit anybody.
Yeah.
I'll be giving them money.
Yeah.
Anybody that I want to fight, like if I'm Conor McGregor and the DJ is giving me an attitude, all right, buddy, here's some money. Just shut the fuck up. I'm not gonna punch the guy, and then you're gonna have to settle with him anyway. So you might as well just give him the money, make everyone happy, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well said. Well said. Before we go, we got to talk about your podcast, Call Me Al. Great job you and Aaron Weinbaum are doing. How much fun has that been, just linking up with Aaron, who's also runs your Al Iaquinta Realty account, if people didn't know, one of my favorite accounts on Twitter?
It's been fun. It's been really fun. The Call Me Al show. We got guests that call in, and we really talk about what they want to talk about. We have people, listeners calling in. So it's a little different. It's a little different setup, and have some good guests, a lot of real estate talk. Obviously, I'm big in the real estate game. So we talk a lot of real estate, talk a lot of current events. Not so much MMA, a little bit of MMA, but it's definitely an MMA focused, but we talk about everything, and it's been fun getting to know my co-host Aaron. We didn't really know each other too much. We just started this podcast. He's a wizard on the Twitter parody accounts.
Yeah.
So it's it's been really fun. It's been fun, and we have a good dynamic together, and the callers, you never know who's gonna call in. We get some really smart, interesting people, and then we get some absolute Looney Tunes that just want to start shit, talk nonsense, and get me aggravated. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like a throwback to the old, like, especially you being in New York, like the old, like, sports talk radio where we'd get people calling in. I know that's not as prevalent now, but I love the format. I think that's so cool because that's what I grew up on as well. What's been the most challenging part for you doing it? Because obviously it's one thing to, fight and be good on the mic, but it's another thing to host a show, what I know this myself, but what have you found has been some of the challenges doing it?
It's definitely, some people are hard to interview. Trying to get stuff out of them or whatever. Just there's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of research and stuff. So yeah, it definitely gives me a new perspective on the other side of the microphone and what you guys do. So it's been fun. It's been fun. I like stepping outside of my comfort zone, but it's been nice to connect with. I connect with a lot of people. So people, they talk shit on Twitter in my inbox. They'll start out of nowhere. It's like, people just have so much time. They'll just DM me out of nowhere. You suck, this or that, and I'll say, you know what? Come on the show, and I'll send them the link to it. I go, call into the show, and if you got something to say it to my face. Create a Haps account. We run it off this app, Haps, and if you create an account, you can call in with video like a Skype. So they call in, and usually by the end of the episode, we're friends. They're fans. they reach out to me on a weekly basis now, and it's turned people that see me like they'll just hate on me for no reason, and they get kind of like really get to know me.
Yeah.
And it's a different story then. They definitely appreciate that.
Before we go, you mentioned real estate. I got to mention this quick story. First time I met you, I don't know if you remember this, in Chicago, you were there for Aljo's fight against Pedro Munoz. We chatted it up a bit, and I was like, hey, we should do an interview sometime. You actually gave me your real estate card, and I still have it. It's great, by the way. It looks awesome. Same picture you have in the Iaquinta account. But my question for you was, have you ever sold a house for a fellow fighter? Even if it's not someone notable, have you actually sold a house for someone, whether it was a teammate or a friend of yours?
Oh, yeah. No, I helped Ray sell his house. I helped Gian Vellante buy his house, then sell it, and he just bought a new house. Marab, he bought a house here on Long Island, helped him. Aljo bought out in Vegas, referred him to Jason Griggs, who is a Long Island native, moved out to Las Vegas and was on the podcast. He was on this past week breaking down. He's a guy that I've learned a tremendous amount of real estate knowledge. So I'm trying to think who else. I'm sure there's
that's a huge list. I honestly weren't expecting you to say many people at all, just because, I know with fighting and stuff, it can be, busy schedules, but that's cool. You've done so many fighters, or you've helped them out get real estate. I know Brian Kelleher was buying a house recently. I said, why didn't you call Al up? He would have got you a good deal.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't. I mean, everybody, I guess, has a friend, somebody that they trust. We're not tremendously close, but yeah, I'm really anywhere in the United States. If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent, I can help out, and it's something that I really have grown to enjoy doing. If one of my friends asks me and trusts in me to help them, it's fun to go looking at houses or help them get the most money for their house. And then if it's somebody that I don't know, I end up becoming close friends with them by the end of the by the time it's done. So either way, I'm either helping a good friend or I'm helping someone and they become a good friend. And the process is something that I think I've done my research. I've sold plenty of houses, my own included. So I've gotten pretty far with it.
This is a great interview, Al. Thanks so much for the time, man. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, and of course, where they can find the Call Me Al podcast, the floor is yours, sir.
Call Me Al, the Call Me Al Show on Twitter. American Ethanol, incredible sponsor. Kill Cliff, energy drinks, love them. Another one of my sponsors has been helping me out. I think that's it, man. I think that's it. We've, if you're looking to buy, sell, or rent anywhere, I got you back. Give me a call.
Perfect.
November 6th, Madison Square Garden, Bobby Green. It's on UFC 269?
268.
268.
Oh, yeah, 268.
There we go.
That's it.
There we go.